this ice out. Take this ice out. I guess this is a good job. It's like, what job should you have if you just like talking all the time about yourself? Huh. Maybe you too can be a podcaster. Oh, I gotta stand up just a second because I just started the thing again, and then I'm going to. Oh, fuck. Alright, check this out. I'm gonna try to crack this motherfucker too. No cracks. He's okay. Okay. That is good. We're just trying to make sure he stays limber. He gets a little stiff. Sometimes this is good. So that way I'm resting my weight with my arms, but I'm also bending it down into that position where it really hurts. And that's the thing about working out, with stretching, life I guess in general too. You just gotta find that point where it hurts, and you gotta stay there as long as possible without hurting yourself permanently. But pain is growth. Pain is growth. So people say pain is weakness leaving the body. You don't gotta be a fucking douchebag and shit. You don't gotta be super macho about it. But if you're not willing to be hurt in life, then that's what. Because growth is expanding your ability to tolerate pain. It's gonna be hard. Life is gonna be hard. What is the Sylvester Stallone? It's not about how hard you can get hit, but how hard. What? It's not about how hard you hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's whatever the fuck. You know what I don't like about that guy? He plays his movies. I don't know. I don't like the guys who are super like rabid, like militaristic. Go army, go soldiers, blah blah blah. Like that's good, and soldiers need support, but like fucking protect them from being abused. Anyone who supports the troops without questioning the mission is a fucking tool. Literally, you're being used by someone. So fucking wake up and think for yourself. Just cashing in on patriotism, fucking flag fuckers. Unquestioning militarism is the fucking problem of the world. You're not gonna fucking get any respect from me for just fucking waving a flag around and making money off of it. Where's the honor in that? Calm down, Shaz. Slow your roll. Slow your roll. Alright. Let's see. My cousin went to a fucking party with Sylvester Stallone in LA. He was a bodyguard for Arsenio Hall. The big one who was a fucking big. He tried out for the LA Rams. He's a big Mexican. Some of us are big. And I would be young reading his bodybuilding magazines and shit. There's people in your family if you want to get stronger, this and that. The icons of masculinity. He told me, if you're not a man before you go in the military, you ain't going to be a man when you get out. Pretty good line. I looked at him, I was like, sometimes when people tell me shit, I'm like, that's pretty good copy. Even if I disagree with you, that's a pretty good line. I tell that to people still. When people are like, I'm going to the military to get responsible. It's like, military, it's a tool. You can use it for self-improvement. It's like a Swiss Army knife. And the best people in the military tell you that too. Do your continuing education, do this and that. Get as much as you can out of the military because it's getting as much as it can out of you, like any job. But if you're relying on the military to flip a switch in you, that's the personal choice. Just like addiction. Like I can't do shit for people. I've learned that. People have to decide to get sober. You just could give them unconditional love and boundaries. But if you do one without the other, you're getting used. Or you're hurting them. Give them boundaries without love, you're just being judgmental. But if you give them love without boundaries, they're going to fucking take and take. So the same with military. If you don't start self-correcting, you're just going to become a tool, or you're going to wonder why fucking it's not working for you. You got to, like, the military didn't teach me responsibility, obviously. I fucking got in and fucked around. It was an interesting time in my life. But I was as responsible as I wanted to in the military. But this time in real estate taught me a lot because it's an open market and there's all these different stuff that I respect. So yeah, that's why I was saying, like, learning how to solve that problem every month. And I would tell my folks too, everyone says they're proud of me, but I was proud as fuck on myself. That's where your confidence comes from. It's like I'm doing something that is very hard to do. 9 out of 10 people stop doing real estate in New York City. Our attrition rate is that of like Alaskan fishermen and long haul truckers. It's just not for everyone. It's fucking, you don't sleep much when you're a long haul trucker. It's hard. You're on the road. You're by yourself. There's a lot of liability. There's a lot of fucking problem solving. If you watch YouTube and fucking dangerous ass shit, it's like those guys. I doubt anyone who's on the road that many hours hasn't been in a life or death situation where you have to fucking. You see all those break runaway truck ramps, any of these highways? That's scary ass shit. I respect the fuck out of those guys. That's a tough job. I know because we did commercial trucking insurance. And it's just, you gotta fucking, it's a tough thing to do. So like real estate, like in sales, it's like no one's fucking giving you any safety net. You gotta figure out the market, and every month the market's changing. New ad affiliates are coming in. You might have put your money on like Craigslist when I was in. Craigslist was how we got leads, and then it switched over from Craigslist to Naked Apartments and StreetEasy and RentHop, and you gotta navigate this shit. And one of those might be a bullshit one where they're fucking charging you $200-300. I was paying $200 a month in Naked Apartments, but that was a subscription, and then I get 200 ads, 250 ads, and then RentHop you pay $3 an ad. So now you have to equate the two. You have to put it into your, well, you're supposed to. So I start having an ad budget, and you have to figure out your return on investment. Naked Apartments, it's easy. Just, am I making $200 back from my 250 ads? But RentHop is harder. How much should I invest? So I would actually, RentHop, I guess they're smart like that. I would pay over 200 for them. Not really make the money back. They both made me about the same. But RentHop I would have to pay more. But I'm not going to, I can't put more money in Naked Apartments. They only let you be one agent. And I can't just have one advertising affiliate, because then I can't just bet on one horse. What if one of the ones go down? You can't, also you learn how to hedge and shit like that. I can't fucking, there's competition in my ad affiliates the same way there's competition between brokers. And if one of these guys has a bad month because fucking RentHop figures out how to get more market share through their algorithms, I test them all. I could test them right now. Let's test them. Type in Studio West Village, Manhattan, and let's see who comes up. And then those are the ones you want to advertise on. People would be like, "Oh, you do real estate in New York? Do you do Google? How do you advertise on the internet? Do you have a website?" I'm like, "Bitch, you know how many people are looking? You know how much that real estate on those websites cost? Is like, this is how let me break down the advertising market for you. Is I pay $200 to be one of thousands of agents to get a fraction of Naked Apartments exposure, because Naked Apartments is a big enough company to actually show up on a random Google search. For me to show up on a random Google search myself, I'd have to be paying Naked Apartments money. And that's a company that has thousands of brokers paying them. That's $1 million. Anyways, so let's see. So this is just, you could reverse engineer it basically. West Village Studio. The most Googled neighborhood in Manhattan. We have StreetEasy as the first one. Zillow, Apartments.com, Naked Apartments, RentHop. Boom, there you go. So what did I say? RentHop, Naked Apartments. StreetEasy, never really liked them. They're certain, and they're owned by Zillow now. But I know all these affiliates right here. And then we have Brick Underground, which is just just an article. But you know what's interesting? I can't tell which one of these is sponsored. I thought, do they not have sponsored searches anymore? Anyways, this is probably organic algorithms. So this just means that these guys all have enough of a footprint, or however. I used to do fucking the hacking your Google organic algorithms, but I guess they keep changing it, so it's harder. So that's another thing. You have to have a presence. You have to have a company relevant enough online in order to hit one of the top spots on Google. And that's how, so if you look right here, there you go. You'll see the top affiliates. Yeah, there we go. StreetEasy, Zillow, Apartments.com, Naked, and RentHop. So as a real estate broker, I'm going to advertise on all those guys. They'll have a back end for brokers, and then you can put up your 200, 300 ads. If they're fucking have that type of presence, you know how many Google searches there are for West Village Studio? Probably like tens of thousands a month, because there's tens of thousands of clients that come. There's like about 10,000 apartments maybe in Manhattan. I think that's around the number on a given month. So in the West Village, there's probably like 1/10, 1/12 of that. West Village doesn't have that much inventory, maybe less than that. But but then there's like thousands, yeah, probably tens of thousands, because there's a lot of casual searchers. Like, think about it. Out of my raw contacts, I was closing 1 to 3%. So out of the raw people who are fucking just contacting me as one agent, 1 to 3% of them made me money. So about 50% of them would answer my inquiry form, and then fucking and then 1/10 of those people I would actually qualify, and then out of that I would close like 30 to 50%. So those are my numbers about, I think, if I actually went to my sales process and broke down all the metrics at each stage. But this is all stuff that I reverse. It's not like I went into it with an MBA and a fucking plan. This is all just like fishing. It's like, all right, what's better bait? Let me work on the bait. Some months I'd be like, I need to get my ads better. And so I was one of the few agents who would actually write real life copy. Like, oh, I developed an inventory up to like 500 ads with like, some of them I paid people, some of them, a lot of them I did myself. And fucking, yeah, just 2 to 3 original sentences. But that 2 to 3 original sentences takes about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. No, maybe if you're doing it really fast, but it takes at least 2 minutes, because you have to be like, all right, there's only so much shit you can say. Right down the street from the West 4th Street stop in an amazing part of the West Village. Bay windows, hardwood floors, high ceilings, and a closet in the bedroom. Spacious fucking 1 bedroom with really good layout, and only a second floor walk-up, something like that. But then you have to do that like 500 times. So it's like, how many times can you describe beautiful tree-lined street in the... And I had rules for how I wanted to do it. I was like, none of this is going to be fucking derivative. It's all going to be new sentences. It's going to be grammatically correct. That's just... People contact me. That's how I get... By putting that much effort in my bait, in my actual fucking ads, when people contact me, they're like, I noticed that you actually sounded like a normal human being. Because these guys are like, well, we have a lot of foreigners too. So just idiots, and they just don't have coherent sentences in their actual... So that'll get a certain type of people. And then that's my sales philosophy starts developing. All right, so brokers attract their client profile. So me as a broker put more effort in my business, I'm attracting a more intelligent client profile. So I start to realize that, like, and then in love and sex the same way. When you look at a couple, it's usually intelligence-wise or something, but you attract what you put out there. That's when I met the dancer girl. I was at a very confident point in my life, and I met the most confident girl I'd ever been with. But I had to approach her. Fucking, she was at that pool when I met her at the fucking on the roof of Equinox. She was with a dude. He was, I could tell that they weren't with each other because he was being a little bit like... But this is all body language and behavior that if I fucking hadn't lived it, I wouldn't be able to recognize that that's not her boyfriend. He's being like all puppy dog. He was an older guy with money. I'd have to be long enough in New York to recognize this pattern. This is an older guy with a little bit of money, and this is his plaything. But he hasn't locked that shit down yet. He just brought her here, and she's fucking sunning, but she's definitely shopping. And so fucking... And then as soon as I talked and I offered him a drink, I had a cooler. I offered them both a drink, and he said no, and then she grabbed it, she smiled at me, and it's like, nah, dude, that's not your girl. I'm fucking, and then he's like, and he noticed what was up. He's like, I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna blah, blah, blah. She's like, you could go ahead and go down, I'm gonna stay here. And I was like, yeah, nah, dude. You just try to pull her away from the situation, and you just fucking cut yourself out of the conversation, so that way I could talk to her more directly. Good job. That's what, projecting your insecurities just fucking cut you out of the competition, dumbass. That's what you realize in New York too, is that money doesn't win you the certain types of girls. It'll win you fucking the simple ones, but like once you have enough money to actually like enter the conversation, then it's all about like confidence and personality. And the thing that the dancer girl, it wouldn't have just been about the ass or anything else, but she said she was just bored in New York and bored of the people she was meeting, and that's what like kind of like piqued up my ears. I was like, yeah, this is a funny culture. It was like, all right, there's one that like... There's other things. It's not about money, and it's not about... She wasn't impressed by the glitz in the fucking city. She had just come to the city, but she was like, it's already fucking boring her. And I'm like, and then we start talking about nature and shit. And our first date, we were supposed to go to a party. We sit on my roof in the village, and it was a full moon. And we just take mushrooms and talk. Just fucking, we were, it's like we're both looking at the moon. We're not looking at each other. I kissed her. I kissed her on the roof. That was the first kiss under the moon. But, did I say that story? I don't know. I brought her back to the apartment. We were supposed to go to that party. I was trying to finish up my ad, still working really hard in real estate. She said I gotta jump in the shower. She just came back from practice. She was working at Broadway Dance Center or something. There's all these dance companies in New York, and these she's serious about her art. She's up and coming dancer. She's dance on the street. She dance on the stage. She dance anywhere. That's her art. It's just like with me. Like if someone says they're a poet, I'm like, tell me a poem. It's a performing art. She's like, she just loves to perform. But she's like, I gotta go shower. And I'm like, cool, jump in the shower. I'm gonna finish up this work. And then while she's in the shower, because the shower's in the kitchen in my apartment, right next to the stove, it's a cool apartment. I yell over, and this is the first time we're hanging out. We had like, oh, you know what else? That day, I had asked her to come to the party with me. I had bought these tickets. It was like $500 worth of tickets. It's fancy ass fucking underground party scene I was a part of. And I was like, I just, stuff like that in New York too. I started to realize you have to have standing reservations, tickets and stuff. You'll find the girl, but if you don't, like if you find the girl before the shit, you're not gonna have time to fucking get the shit. Like stuff in New York, there's just so many people. Everything is more competitive. I would tell my clients too. It's like there's a lot more people than you think trying to do exactly what you're trying to do. I would tell them like jobs, partners, or apartments. Everyone's trying to do the same thing you're doing. How the girls I dated all were seeing other people. Like this one, I met her at the pool. Another guy brought her to that pool, and I just poached her from that guy. Like New York is shoulder to shoulder, and I tell people if you're standing in one place, you're moving backwards. If you're walking, you're standing still. You got to be running in this city, and that's why it's exhausting. And I took this whole year off. I really thought I was getting back into real estate because it gets addictive, especially if you start winning. Like me, I was at the top of it. I jumped into something that was very competitive, and I was winning, and that can be a form of addiction because it feeds your ego when you fucking make that money in New York. And I wasn't doing, imagine if I jumped into stocks. There's these people that fucking killed it, fucking 7 figures. I don't know anyone who did 8 figures. But you meet some people who are fucking your age or younger doing 7 figures based off of some ingenious fucking little hustle that they've developed, or they're just very good at their industry, and you're like, fuck. Like that model girl. Fucking mid 6 figures, fucking, she intimidated the fuck out of me. Now I think I could deal with somewhat that level of success, but coming up, I was these kids intimidated me in Independence Plaza, the game developer and the fucking lawyer. It took me a couple years to fucking find my way in society, and I'm still right now. I'm comparing myself against like the Bezos and the Musk. I'm being like, can I be an entrepreneur of that scale? Can I originate a unicorn billion-dollar company? So I'm trying to figure out my worth and my place in the larger system, but while retaining my humility by coming up. But 5 or 6 years in New York, I came up from poor Shaz Island, no shoes, to like, all right, I fucking could win this game. Let me see what other games I could play. But yeah, she was like, so that day I just wanted to tell this whole fucking dancer girl story, and then I'll get back to Independence Plaza, and then there was like one more I forgot before I got to Thompson, and then I'm supposed to walk from Thompson to Sullivan to Carmine. And then when I'm done with that, I'm supposed to do the videos, and then catch up on all this other fucking shit. We're going off script, Shaz. We're going off script. But the memories are coming out, which is the most important part. The day that the dancer, so this is 2016 because the dancer is my last girlfriend, and then every night, so I go like more present, and then I go back to that original narrative. It seems like my mind can only hold 2 or 3 strains at a time, and then if it gets more than that, fucking I lose it. But I wanted to tell about that night. I met her at the pool, got her number, texted her back and forth, still not fucking, you always get better. I don't know, I'm not a black belt in women. I'm fucking probably a couple down. I'm working on it. You gotta not make people feel uncomfortable. And this Tinder girl, it's like if I was a black belt at woman, we could have had a good physical connection and still been friends. But I kind of got too familiar and made it a little bit weird, where like if she met up with me off of Tinder, we both needed some comfort, and sometimes sex can be a healing process, but I made it a little bit too much ego and about me. We have now settled into a nice little amicable thing, but if we both met up on Tinder, it's kind of a waste for us not to have hooked up, maybe. But then I think about that. That's where like I'm still open to the possibility of maybe I'm not trying to hook up with everyone, because if I did that, maybe I'd be fucking her right now, and I might not need that in my life right now. I might need my head clear, and my space open. I would tell girls in my life that. I'd be like, dude, you're with all these douchebags. You're not, sometimes you have to be single to be available for the one, if the one exists or something, or for something good. But if you're always with a douchebag because you're afraid of being alone, then you're always occupying yourself. And then fucking that good guy might just, you don't notice him. You have to be, sometimes you have to keep, I think that's where I'm at right now. I really, so maybe I'm closer to the black belt than I think. I think that I'm keeping myself thirsty because I think the next girl is going to be beyond what I've had so far. That's why I'm doing this review, and I want to do also the review of every girl I've been with to try to not repeat this stuff. I think there's a type of girl that I haven't experienced yet, and a type of relationship I haven't experienced yet, which is more mature and more in depth. Like, it has, all of these have a little bit of what I'm looking for, but I think there's one out there who kind of like has been going through these motions like me, and then fucking there's going to be like more of a connection. We're going to meet on more surface areas. Like, we're going to just, because they've also like had that, one fulfilled this, one fulfilled that, one fulfilled, but like we were like, I don't know, what would it be like, into your physical nature, but also your spiritual nature, adventurous, but willing to move around. I got a girl who's kind of on the radar right now, and she's fucking super smart too. But like, if I need a little bit of money and stability, and then I might go back in my recent past and fucking hit up some people. But she, yeah, I got one that recently I've been thinking about, that like I should see what she's up to. She has got a motive. I might be starving, but food's always within sight. Starving in a supermarket. That's what being lonely in the modern connected world is you're starving in a fucking supermarket. Wake the fuck up. And then people are like, but no one will love me. Shut the fuck up. You know how many lonely women are out there? My friends would always tell me, not my friends, this one specific friend, she's like, there's a crisis of a lack of orgasms in the modern age. These women are not being pleased. She would, and that's not my opinion, that's hers. She's just like, I need some dick in my life. I need some good dick in my life, and I'm not getting it. And I wasn't the one to give it to her, but I'm just like, oh, if only any guy fucking knew what was going on in this girl's mind at any given time. She's not fucking bad dick. She doesn't want assholes. She doesn't want fuck boys. But like, she needs just a fucking sincere dude who's willing to put some work in. Anyways, enough about my sexual frustration and that of my friends. So the dancer girl, we're messaging. I'm not a black belt yet. So I'm not quite getting her to believe she should come to this party with me, which is going to be a costume amazing party and some fucking shit. Which I went to a couple others before. And I already bought the tickets too. So I'm like, if she doesn't go, I don't mind paying for 2 tickets and just going by myself. Or like, even, I never did this, but I was ready to fucking, I want to be on the level where I could just kind of like go to a bar, just find someone that day for a date. You just fucking, you just wait until you fucking find someone who's receptive. That's the sales mentality. Just like, talk to a couple people. How many bars are there in New York? I've talked to plenty of strangers at a bar. It takes a drink or two and you just chill, and eventually there'll be a conversation within your orbit. But she, and then I leave my apartment. Every morning to get my coffee, read my paper. For about a year, I was reading the paper every morning. And then this last year, I was actually writing, doing my own shit. I was like, enough with the fucking, their stories. New York, you read the New York Times for a year and you get fucking tired of the New York Times. Bunch of emotional manipulation bullshit. You're like, after a year, you're not giving me any framework with which to better understand the world. You're just fucking emotionally triggering me. Our level of discourse as a society, from our most professional outlets even, are fucking useless. And I'll break that down, and I was doing that. At the beginning of the year, I was doing that in my first podcast, breaking down from a logical standpoint, reading the New York Times, or breaking down why it's bullshit on a article-by-article basis. It takes a while, but you can do it. It takes a lot of time. But I lost those videos. YouTube took all my videos because they believe that I do not have a right to access my creative content. Fucking begging for a class action lawsuit. But so I went out to read the paper, came back, and then I was like, sometimes I feel like I need to go get a second coffee. It was just an excuse also. I'm lording over my neighborhood. I would tell my clients when they would rent an apartment, I was like, have a routine. Just, this is my advice. You paid a lot of money to live in a good neighborhood. It's like if you bought a fucking Lincoln or something, or a Porsche, and the person gives you driving advice, like, drive this car. This is a good car. Fucking take it for a Sunday drive. So I was like, get a coffee in the morning. Do something for yourself. like before you start your day in the evening, because this is a beautiful neighborhood, and make it yours. Have your, just explore. So I would go to a different coffee shop, different direction every morning, walk around the village, just then you do that for a year, and it's just like I could do that. I could go back there the rest of my life, and your memories, New York, it's such a small geographic area. They fold over each other more and more. I didn't realize David Bowie had his routines in New York, and when he died, he would go to the fucking Washington Square Park and play chess, and but he was in the morning, so no one recognized him, because he had a pretty good way of blending in. I think he just had pretty good style and a way about him that he could make himself anonymous, I think. But he was overlapped my routine. I never saw that dude. I've seen a lot of famous people in the village. I never saw him. But yeah, I saw Claire Danes walking down the street. I was with a fucking girlfriend at a time. She was like, "That's Claire Danes." I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." Looks like another random person. Um, I think I saw Larry David running across the street, doing some Larry David shit. Fucking kind of haphazard, cutting in front of a cab, running across the street. That kind of looks like Larry David, and he kind of looks like he's fucking doing some awkward shit like Larry David, almost getting hit by a car. He lives in New York. Let's see. The so this girl, I'm not winning the text battle. She's not saying she's not going to this party with me, but this is the most recent girlfriend. So by then I'm like, pretty. If you sweat a girl, you're gonna fuck it up. So without sweating her, and also with the real estate shit, clients don't tell you no. You know when you have them, and you know when you're losing them. I was like, I don't really have this girl. And so I'm going out for my second cup of coffee that morning. It's the morning of the party, and she hasn't confirmed with me. And I can't. There's little rules to this shit. I can't text her again. I'm done without being an herb, as my Italian lady told me. Fucking, it's like this. It's like fishing. It's like if you feel a nibble, if you pull it, the fish, you're gonna spook the fish. But you gotta kind of like wait, and then like there's a time to pull it where you'll actually catch the fish in the mouth. Or like the dance. It's like in dance, usually someone leads. In like ballroom or salsa and this and that. So if you push into her way, it tells her when to spin, this or that. So I wasn't really feeling the connection where I can get a reaction on her part. That's a less predatory. Fishing is like, and then you eat the fish, and then you hook it in its mouth, and now you're piercing it. Or like a Margaret Atwood poem was, you fit into me like a hook into an eye, an open hook. What was it? Something like a sharp hook, an open eye. But like a hook and an eye are like a sewing thing. So it's like one image is like a connection, and then the other image was something like a rusty hook, an open eye, or some shit. She had some feminine anger, that Margaret Atwood. So, righteous babes, right? Like fucking Annie DeFranco, Righteous Babe Records. Women have a right to have righteous anger just as much as men, right? Even more so, because most of it's directed at men. Tell us when we fuck up or when we overstep. But so this girl's not having it. I'm not feeling like I'm distinguishing myself from her plethora of suitors. So I walk back out of my apartment, and she's walking down the street right in front of fucking my apartment. I don't know if she was going to the gym or something, because Equinox is right down the street, about 10-minute walk, maybe 7-minute walk down the street. And I was like, dancer. She was like, oh my God. And in person, we have energy. So it's like, that's another thing. Like text, I'm not the best texter, this or that. Maybe not even on the phone. But like in person, there's like a whole different energy. So usually I just try to fucking bunt the text shit. And then people know this too. There's just some people aren't the best on the phone. And that's with my clients too. I try to get them in person. I qualify them so they're not bullshit. But once we're in person, we usually seal the relationship. That's when I know. I look them in the eye and this and that. You could just tell so much more. But you don't have enough time to meet everyone in person. So you do the best you can on a phone conversation, but you really want to get that personal charisma going. Salespeople, especially in real estate, we're supposed to be able to get people to like us. Charisma or whatever it is, sincerity. Diligence. I was working towards the end of it, just being good at my job so I could fucking show up casual and be like, look, we're just going to have fun. We've already done most of the work. I'm probably going to pay for a meal for both of us, and we're going to take a bunch of cabs. So there's no stress. And then if they smoke, fucking, I'd offer them some weed. I'd be like, I wouldn't try to bring it up on all the conversations, but if they're super laid back, I'd fucking, yeah. I try not to do that or drink too much. A couple of clients we would drink, and then we'd fucking see apartments, and you gotta have to have your wits about you, because it is mentally exhausting to imagine living in places. It uses a part of your brain which it wears you out. With clients, they get tired if you, and we do this for a living. It's fucking, but looking at apartments is exhausting, because you imagine, if you're doing it the right way, you imagine where your furniture goes, all that, and all that spatial shit in your brain's using a lot of energy. Your brain already uses 20% of your resting energy. This fucking thing in our head is a fucking evolutionary liability. So she's like, Shaz, and I'm like, fucking, oh shit, dancer. So I'm like, I start walking where she's walking. I'm like, what's up? I was about to get coffee, and she's like, happy to see me. So I'm like, why you fucking, and so I give her a little shit. I'm like, why you trying to ditch me on the fucking party? I thought you were down. She's like, no, it's just blah, blah, blah. I was like, whatever, it's cool. I was just, it's funny that I see you. But like, that was enough that it pushed me over the edge. She was like, all right, no, you know. So that's what it was. And that's what, sometimes you get ghosted by someone or a girl, and then you project your insecurity, and it's just like, she didn't have the bandwidth for me. And then, because she's being pulled in, like that pool guy, the guy who brought her to the pool, other people, she just, and it's a Friday, so I'm trying to get her Friday night. That's a busy fucking scorecard. But the fact that we ran into each other, she was like, all right, you know, I'll make plans. I wasn't gonna do anything tonight, but that's why I wasn't getting back to you or something, which is probably a lie. She had plans with someone. So, and I've had girls do this before, where they tell me, yeah, I just ditched plans to hang out with you instead. But like, everyone has options in New York if you're desirable. And then how you respond to that shows your character. Some of the people, it goes to their head, and they try to be the player. But like, it doesn't, I have options. Everyone has options. What? Because eventually you have some exes, and you could always go out and run into random tourists. It doesn't make you any special, better, or worse. And then if you have no options, then maybe start from the bottom. Fucking start developing, get some relationships. But if you live in New York long enough, you start to develop options. But so she fucking fit me in her schedule. She was like, because we ran into each other, she was like, all right, you know, because she remembered that we actually, like, there's a vibe. So I didn't bug her too much, but I just teased her. I was like, oh, so you ain't going to that thing, right? Because that's funny that I ran into you. But it was more about like, just, that's another thing. If you're going to hang out with a chick, it's about having a good interaction. It's not about fucking closing this or that or securing this or that. You want to get a number, some way to keep in contact, but you have to have first a reason to do that. So you have to have a good interaction. When we met at the pool, I had brought a cooler of all these mixed drinks that I made myself. I went out there fucking on one. I was like, it's 4th of July. I'm going to go to that pool. I'm going to bring 10 mixed drinks. I'm just going to pass them out and make friends. This is fucking, usually Shaz is workaholic these last couple of years. That was my like, all right, I'm going to let loose today. And I'm going to not be so antisocial. A lot of times I'm in the village, I just think this whole shit's silly. Everyone around me silly. All these fucking institutional douchebags who went to school and think this is fucking all his life. And I just started doing it, and now I'm winning, but it's hard for me to take it seriously. I was like, all right, that's judgmental, reactionary Shaz. This is why we're doing money, so that way we can normalize and humanize all these aren't bad people. These are fucking people like anyone else. They have their biases, they have their advantages. They might be naive because this is all their experiences. My experiences are more varied. That doesn't make me better than them, but it might make it so I have less blind spots. That should make me more compassionate. It shouldn't make me more judgmental, stuff like that. So I'm like, that's when you know your head's in the right spot, when it's compassionate, understanding, when you're making people feel at ease. You're not scowling at the world. This whole last year, too, I was doing a lot of scowling at the world. I'm trying to let go of that energy. It's useful when you're on your fucking warrior path, but the whole world isn't your enemy, you know. That's too exhausting. That's what, like Martin Luther King Jr., all that wisdom that I try to save in those songs. Hate is too great a burden to bear. That's why Huey and the love song that I have, you want to bring that's why I'm closing my book of the year on love. You want to bring your heart and your mind back to love and peace, and there's a reason why that's our savior. If we can't, the world and human relations will only be saved through the concept of love. Otherwise, things don't make any sense. And if you think about your life, the times when it made the most sense is when you found that love, whether personally with another person or with yourself or with your family Love is how the story was created. That's the act of creation, creating another life. The love between, even if the love between the people didn't work out, a mother and their child is a love that there's maybe romantic love is higher than that, but the love between a mother and the child that they create is something that's probably the conception of truth right there. You can't fucking, out of that comes all the other forms of and metaphors and everything else. There's just every guy is trying to get back in the womb, they say, but there's a purity to it. Anyways, so she agrees. She's like, all right, meet me, blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, I'll meet you at Union Square. This is a costume party. We have to pick up some costumes. Also, I start making it an adventure. So it wasn't like me harassing her. I was just like a little bit teasing, but that's really like to fucking smoke out her objections like you would do in sales. I was like, all right, well, fucking meet me in Union Square. We'll go from there to get the costumes. And we'll go, you're going to like this party. It's amazing. It's like, because when we met the fucking fool, she was like, I'm bored of all this shit. And these people think they have money. And after the guy left, she was kind of shit talking the guy. Not really. She's pretty good at that. Her energy is like up there. She's an enlightened person. All the women I've dated, I like to think I'm getting more and more closer to who I am. So she doesn't really talk shit about people, but she was talking shit about New York in general, just like the energy here. She had gone to some sex parties. She didn't participate, but like just kinky shit in New York and fucking just like it's just ego and this and that. And she was just observing, fly on the wall, observing the New York scene at the highest levels of money and power, as pretty girls are able to do. Able to poke their heads into fucking all the doors. Fucking the girl who got Napoleon was just a fucking pretty socialite in France and saw this general storming into the fucking capital. Her and her friend were like, damn, those are some fucking, that's the alpha right there. I'm jumping on the alpha. Fucking all throughout history, you find these women who, their stories might not be told, but they're in history, and they're fucking Genghis Khan's mother. He had to fucking tone her ass down. She was fucking up his camp. The women in history might not get the place they deserve, but if you look in history, you'll find these strong women who ran shit. It was harder for them. One of the biggest, if not the biggest pirate in the world, most successful, was a woman. She's fucking, in almost every industry, a woman's been able to rise to the top through the fucking, and then if legally they didn't have that power on their side, then they had to be more cunning in all the other ways. But so the dancer has that energy. She just runs shit. So she fucking So I fucking earned the right for her to meet me at Union Square, boom. And the whole point of this whole story is I walk up to her at Union Square, I see her fucking sitting on the fucking bench or some shit like that. And like she's just sitting down doing her shit. Everyone does their phone shit. And I just walk up to her and I fucking kiss her on the forehead. And then she stands up and we hug and then we go off. But it wasn't like, I wasn't being sweet or cute. It was like, that's when you know it's something like, it was when it's just so easy, like just how I got her number. Like, it was like, it was already a relationship. It was already my girl. It was already, like, just when I saw her, it was like, I was seeing her, like, and this happened to me again. Like, I hadn't seen her for a minute. She went to Mexico or something, and then she came back January. And I was supposed to meet her in a park in the West Village. And I saw her on the bench, so I jumped over the fence behind her so I could come up behind her on the bench, and I just put my arms around her. But, like, just that familiarity. Sometimes some people, you just jump into an immediate familiarity, and that's special, because sometimes it's really hard to like the fucking model girl. Like, there's a mutual attraction, but we just couldn't figure out how to jump over that first hurdle of like breaking down that first physical touch. Or sometimes it's just so easy. Like the dancer girl, it's not like I was like kinetic chain, first touch her, and then later on I'll be able to touch her more. It was just like, I just felt a lot of love for her, and it was expressed through, like, I saw her and I was just like happy, and I just like kissed her on the forehead, and it was just like, it just felt so natural. It's just like, it's something you do to like a girlfriend. It's just like when you have a girlfriend, you have your arm always kind of touching them lower back or something. You're always kind of feeling their presence. Or even when you sleep, you're always kind of touching each other, even if you don't want to cuddle because of body heat or something. But you're always, like, I can imagine her right now, just the energy, us feeding off of each other. That's when we had if it's not her, whoever the next person is that I have, that's once you have those levels of connection, that's what you want. You're like, all right, this is what a relationship is. And then that's what allows you to pass on that other shit. It's like, if it's not this, then it's not for me. Like, once you have that fucking filet mignon of the spirit, though, Like I had the filet mignon of the nice cut of meat, but my friend, oh man, why'd she touch her body like that? Why'd she have to do that shit? I don't understand. It's just it's a cycle. She jumped into the Michael Jackson cycle. But so yeah, the dancer girl, we run to a fucking store, we go and buy some fucking clothing. Was that the day? Oh, shit, that might have been the day that I bought the chain, that might have been the day that I bought this fucking for the party, and then bought some other shit, and then we go back to my apartment. She's like, all right, she had come from the dancing practice, and so she was like, from the Broadway Dance Center or whatever, and she was like, or maybe it was another fucking dance center or something. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put these guys right here. These are gonna be my like pads for my elbows. I feel good. 20 minutes. Is this the whole video just about the dancer girl? And then she's like, I'm gonna jump in the shower, and then I'm doing my fucking ads because I kind of still make money. And I'm like, too bad I have to work, or else I jump in there with you. Shaz running his mouth. And then she says something that most people don't do when Shaz runs their mouth, which is she upped the ante, which is when you know you found the one who could fucking keep up with you. She's like, oh yeah, too bad. And I was like, oh, this fucking bitch right here, is she daring me to jump in that shower? Because I'm not. That's what I try to do too. And that's why I'm speaking right now, is to try to correct my word and figure out what I could live by and what I have to let go. I try to fucking like speak and do what I say. So when she said too bad, in my head, it was like green light. And so I fucking just finished my shit real quick. And I just fucking, she's singing in the shower, la da 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 da. And I just fucking walk up through the kitchen, drop my drawers. And that's another thing, like physical confidence. You learn that like it makes everything just so easier. And I just fucking like step in the shower right behind her. She's like, ah! Of course she screams, fucking naked ass man. She's like, but now your composure. What type of women do I like and what type of women don't I like? I don't like women who litigate consent, like blah blah blah. I like women, I'm not gonna fucking molest or harass, but some women might think that that's harassment. But what are we doing? We're playing, but we're playing a game, we're dancing. And I said something and she said something and we're testing each other. And so fucking she screamed like, ah. And I'm like, I thought you invited me in here. And she's like, she doesn't know how to fucking react, because how many people would just jump in the shower naked with you? And I was like, and this is where like this could be very weird and very creepy, but I was trying to make it so she was weird. I was like, I'm just trying to shower. We're in a hurry. I don't know what you're doing. And I just start soaping up. This is totally, because if I made it sexual, that would be the fatal fallacy. It's like, this woman has not, people have to qualify each other before they, later on that night, that morning, I think we hooked up. And then even then it was too soon. And that's my issue, is you really, unless both sides are really into it by pushing the issue, it could be a more beautiful first time if you just have some patience. Trying to fucking remember that like, if it's there, like, it's okay to slow play it. Let's have a nice first time instead of just a quick first time. But she's fucking, but I wasn't trying to fuck her in the shower then. I was like, I knew we hadn't even kissed. We had to fucking get to know each other more. And I wanted to get to know her more. I was just fucking with her. So I jumped in. I'm like, I'm just soaping my body. What the fuck are you doing? And she just looks at me like, and so she's like, and so we were both soaping our body. And that's when I was like, because if you're both standing strangers naked in front of each other, it's like that fucking naked dating reality TV show. We're just like kind of like fucking like eyeing each other. Like, just how fucking crazy is the other person? You could tell she's used to being the crazy one. And I'm like, no, fuck. That's why she said, oh yeah, too bad. Basically like, call me on my bullshit. She told me recently, we just talked on the phone. She's like, I miss you, Shaz. She's dating someone, but she's like, you used to be like, I was a big spirit in her life. She fucking brought out around a lot of people, and we did a lot of shit, but I never shirked from, that's what the woman that you know is for you. I don't know if we have a future together, but they bring out your best side in a lot of different ways. So Sha, when she started, she was on the train and she was like giving some random dude a lap dance. She was just being wild and crazy. And I could have shrunk from the opportunity and projected or been insecure. But I was like, it's like the guys, like most of us don't dance. But like, if your girl likes to dance, you got to dance. You got to get out there and look stupid or do whatever. You got to You gotta put your time in to make her happy, because it's not just a partnership. It's not a competition, but it's not just a partnership. It's like at some points, sometimes she's your queen, just like sometimes you're her king, and sometimes she fucking looks at you like you're the fucking biggest thing in the world. Sometimes you gotta elevate her spirit, and you just gotta, like, when she wants to dance and be pretty and do this and that, you gotta let your fucking little flower bloom, and you gotta cultivate her and water her and this and that and fucking. So like on the train, Shaw, she wasn't being slutty. She was just being wild. She was being. We were headed to the city. She was being like rowdy, and it was on some gay dude, and the gay dude was loving it. He was like, "Yeah, baby, yeah." They were having a little fucking Beyonce dance off thing right there, and I was just like, I could have gotten. Well, I don't know if he was gay, but I could have gotten jealous but I was just like, all right, I jumped into it, but I made it funny by doing it on a fucking dude who did not want my attention, and then like we all started cracking up because he was trying to shrink into his seat while I'm like stuffing my crotch in his face and doing my best fucking Magic Mike, and he was like, that's not really, I don't, no, please stop. But so yeah, so I jump in the shower with Dancer, and then she's like, I guess figuring out if I'm trying to creep on her. I'm like, I'm just trying to shower. You told me, why not? I thought. So I turn around, and then we're like, and I'm also trying to really to keep my composure, because if I get aroused, I fucked up. You can't. It's gonna be very awkward if my dick's hitting her. So I'm just like, and that also shows something. It's like, no, I'm fucking cool. I'm cool. And I've been in like hot springs before with naked people. Plenty of older people, younger people. I got all my friends to do it. Like the fucking army dudes and some other people. There were like 5 of us. Like to get a bunch of dudes together to fucking get naked in a hot spring. Everyone's keeping eye contact. No one's looking at each other's dick. Come on, dude. We don't do that. Fucking that's gonna make it awkward. It's like when you drop your drawers in front of the wrestling team to try to make great. No one's fucking, and everyone kneels down and looks at your dick. No, everyone's keeping eye contact. Come on. There's unspoken rules about this shit. And so the same thing, me and the Dancer girl. It's like there's an unspoken rule about this game. If I make it too sexual, I fuck it up. I'm sure other people play these games too. You're just towing the line. And what's so funny is we're talking in there, and we just, after a minute, it gets back to normal. And now we're just 2 people who are very comfortable with our bodies, kind of checking each other out. And then I'm talking to her face to face, and then I lean in to try to kiss. And because we said something cute, we were talking about something. And she goes like this. She does the turn to the side. The female version of the black belt. It's like when you've been hit on enough as a girl, it's like you know how to fucking toe that line and be fucking like flirty. But like if the dude thinks that like this is a time to close it, and the girl still is checking you out or figuring out if they want to, or if they already decided no and they're just fucking with you, you think that you fucking have it. And when you're going in, they just really fucking casually, just like, because you're not aggressively trying to force them to kiss you. A kiss should, even if you're initiating, should be 2 parties. So it's just that casual, like, ducking you. And it's just like, it's just enough to be like, ah. And so I just started cracking up. I was like, all right. Because I was just like, in my mind, I was like, this bitch right here, she going to be naked with me in a shower and not let me kiss her? Like, she going to be modest while we're both naked in the shower. And I'm like, that's what I get. Basically, because what's she telling me? She's telling me, you can be naked with me right now. That doesn't give you a right to get anything. So we could both be crazy. We could be naked. We could be whatever. I'm not fucking, that doesn't make me a slut. Well, not that she would be a slut to kiss me, but she's basically saying like, we're going to escalate this on my terms, regardless of how silly you want to be or whatever. But like all these different ways you can interpret it. But basically it was like, you're not in control. You're not as smooth as you think you are, which I've gotten before. This girl in Puerto Rico, she was like, if only you were as smooth as you thought you were. And I still can't figure out if that's a compliment or not. Because I'm like, because if she basically saying me like she would be with me if, but like I'm not quite as cool as I think I am. But like that's why we're friends. It's a girl that like I was friends with, the cat, La Gata Negra, the black cat. Because we were friends because we both laughed about people we would get with, and she was a black belt. She ran shit. I never saw her get caught up. I mean, there's people that she loved. She dated a guy sincerely. But she was always one step ahead, and no one, she had 8 kids, fucking from a young age. So by the time she got to that, that's an exaggeration. She had 8 kids. She had a couple kids, but she was a Mexican girl. Fucking So the Dancer girl and I are sitting in the living room now, And I think I was doing some more work. I was doing something. She's on her phone and she's in a towel. She's just in a towel, so she's just fucking flirting with me, like whatever. And then yeah, we're talking, and then I bust out the mushrooms. I'm like, let's do some of this before we go out. And I think I had some fucking, what the fuck was it? It wasn't Molly. It was something else like Molly. It was brown. It was like from the root of a tree or some shit. It was like naturally derived. It was really good. It's like Molly, but more talkative and more emotional. And that plus the mushrooms was crazy. And then we do that, and then I make her some of the drinks. She's like, I really like those drinks that you made at the pool. I made her painkillers. Painkillers are a Caribbean thing. It's like 2-part orange juice, 1-part pineapple juice, 2 types of rum, coconut cream, and nutmeg on top, I think. And that's what I made, and I took to the pool. I fucking killed it. I made 10 of those bad boys. Passed them around. I was burning out with someone. He was drinking half of them. Me and him got proper fucked up. We both drank because they're like 2 shots apiece. So we both I think we had I think I had like 4 or 5. He had 4 or 5, and then the dancer had 1, and that was the whole thing. She only had 1. Maybe we gave out another one, but we fucking no, I guess so. We weren't fucked up, but we were pretty buzzed. 10 drinks is pretty big. But so I made those. We went to the roof. We were starting to roll. We were talking. And the moon's out, and then that's where I got the kiss. She's on the ledge under the moon. I have a picture of it. I have pictures and shit. It's just just opening up your soul, opening up your spirit. How do you travel this world? How do you travel this life? What's your perspective from where you started to where you're here? And she had so for us acting like we have big egos and having like this confidence, the way we walk through life, the humility of just like, it's just a body, it's just a person. So someone like that, you approach them with too much ego, and that's not. It's just we're both looking at the moon and talking about life. We're not, and then there's just a nice time when we both look at each other, and that was the right kiss. And then I kind of pushed the sex, and so I could have had like the sex to be like that too. But I kind of, since she was at my place and we were spending the night together, because we talked all night, and then we didn't go to the party. I was like, we could go, but like I really like your company right now. Like, I would rather not share it with other people. Like, I'd rather if you're cool, because the apartment's pretty good and the rooftop was pretty good and it was a beautiful night. I was like, if you're cool, just stay in here. Like, it was my $500 or whatever. I didn't fucking mind eating it. I was like, you go to parties to meet people. I met my person. I'm done. It would have been cool to show her it, because I never took her to one of those things, but she's seen plenty of cool shit. It was like, I'd rather get to know this person more intimately than to share their attention with the world. But also, like, it's cool to, like, now I dated another girl before her that I took her to one of those parties, and to have that companion that's like everyone you meet and your energy is like, that girl was really, until I met the dancer girl, that girl, that's what it is. Each one of these relationships, I'm learning something. I don't know if you never reach the end of your path. I don't know if I'm ready to find that life partner, but before the dancer girl, I had a really good connection, and then that stopped for certain reasons. We just talked recently. I thought that girl was mad at me, but I hurt my back, and I was reaching out to friends who had dealt with similar shit, and she used to do a lot of yoga, and she gave me some advice, and I kind of, like, this last year we've been talking, because we only broke up a couple years ago, right before the dancer girl, and they kind of overlapped, as Shaz's fucking nature tends to do, kind of overlapped. And then, so we've been talking about that, and I told her I just reach out, because sometimes I wonder if she's happy, and I want to make sure she's doing well. Sent her a recommendation, told her I'm reading that Eric Fromm Art of Loving book. And she's doing her therapy, like official therapy. I do this personal therapy. She's doing official therapy, but it seems like she has love in her heart, and she's not mad. And I was afraid that she was bitter and mad about how we did things. I just try to let her know I'm growing, and I'm not trying to excuse shit I did in the past. Because she left New York, and we were trying to do the long distance thing, but we weren't really. But it was one of those things, I didn't really break up with her. So she was loyal to me, but I was starting to pursue this dancer girl while still having this girl outside the city. A lot of dudes do that. When I see it, I try to tell the dudes, like, my experiences. I'm like, if you could be honest in your life, try it, because you're just delaying the inevitable anyways. And if you care about these people, you're going to want to be honest with them, because you want them. Like, so I told this girl the ex before the dancer girl, I told her that, yeah, I kind of started dating people while you were out of town. I didn't really like do that right. I know we're not dating now, but just for your personal edification in the future, I don't want you to repeat these patterns. Like, I wasn't the best to you, so that you deserve better in the future. So whatever you can recognize from that. That's what I try. That's the important thing, to be honest with people. You don't want them to, if you're their blind spot, like, just guard against guys like me in the future, and I'm going to try to improve myself so I'm not like that. If I wanted to, it's the strong can be afford to be vulnerable. That's the defense of that. If I want to date other people, date other people. Why do I have to have a fucking girlfriend to make me confident enough to date other people? That's not the type of man I want to be. That's what I am right now. Basically, I'm very free and unattached. This is the time to meet someone. But then it's hard in life to be your best version of yourself when you're single. But isn't that the lesson of self-love? It's like, you need a girlfriend on the side in another city in order to have enough confidence. Then that's predatory, because you're taking from that girlfriend's energy in order to put it into this new relationship. You're not really standing on your own feet. And I did stand on my own feet financially. I want to be able to do it emotionally. It's interesting in life how I can learn the financial lessons to create the real estate company, but the emotional lessons take longer. And that is because of the Maslow hierarchy of needs or whatever. It's like I had enough money to take care of my physical problems. And then I was able to do a comfort and like a nesting thing and have a really nice apartment and a lifestyle. And then I could start attracting pretty birds to my nest. And that's what the dancer girl, when I attracted her to my nest, is like, we didn't leave. She moved in with me. She loved my apartment. We all loved my apartment. I love my lifestyle. I gave up a lot to do this fucking journey. But then my heart wasn't in it anymore, so it's not like I could have kept it anyways. It's not even like I gave it up. I escaped. I couldn't. I tried to do real estate, and I was starting to get bad reviews. My heart was in it because I was trying to prove something. But once I proved that thing to myself, and I started to feel like I was more qualified than this, and this wasn't worth my time to interact with these types of people anymore. Just like the court. Once that judge fucking talked back to me like that, I was like, this isn't worth my time. You're fucking... It's without being judgmental. These people are dipshits. Fucking, let's leave them to their devices and their past that they're on. They claim that they can threaten me with their violence and their this and that, so I'll take it on the chin. You're going to evict me, you're going to do this and that to me, let's do it. I'm right here. I stand for correction, so correct me. Fucking... That's a whole nother thing. That's an open conversation when I talk about my landlord. Shaz and his open conversations. Am I ever going to settle my scores? We will see. I'm going to give her money. I owe her like $25,000, $30,000. Maybe 25. It wasn't a full year. It was about like 8 months, 9 months. 9 times 2,600. Probably around 22,000, something like that. It will be on my time frame because she was doing illegal shit. And fucking, in my book, once you're fucking dirty, then we will fucking, it's an equal playing field. She was like, I want my rent. And I was like, I want my lease. Offer me a real fucking lease. I'll give you my rent. Oh, but you were supposed to pay. Yeah, but you were fucking criminal from the beginning. That was my defense anyways. But I knew the character. That's what it is. When you know someone's character, I already know what move she's going to make. She's not going to fucking be clean because that's not her nature. Her fucking lawyer is a Michael Cohen type. They're fucking, so as soon as I just fucking hid behind fucking the only move I had is that they weren't doing shit legally. And I said, as soon as you do shit legally, I'll pay you. And they'd rather evict me than do shit legally. So that's why they're not going to get their money. But it's just because I knew that it would cost them too much. And then also if they did shit legally, that they knew there was going to be a long time before they got their money. So either they fucking keep being illegal, and then that's my excuse to fucking get pushed down and not pay them. Or they be legal, but then now they have to unwind the shit and do it the right way, which would take them a long time too. They'd have to actually start repairing the apartment. So I was like, these fucking lazy ass, no character having motherfuckers aren't going to do shit the right way. So they're going to just try to do shit shady, but when they push me out, I'm going to have a case against them. That's what I have. I don't know what type of case, but it might just be a petty retributive case where I just refer it to the city and just say, look, I lost the apartment, I can't get back in, but they did A, B, and C wrong, so look into it. But whatever. And I do own the money. Shaz, much like a Lannister, pays his debts. I have in the past and I will in the future. But first we have to get our head right. If a motherfucking corporation can restructure in order to fucking be insolvent or whatever the fuck, I'm just claiming the same rights as a corporation. That's all. We live in a world of corporations. I'm starting to learn their moves. Peace. If you don't have peace and health, then what do you have? Wisdom and videos that aren't quite what I said they would be.